Hi, welcome to my Develop Brighton Digital talk, how not to put game on Steam and some advice on how to. I'm Aiden, by the way. I'm an indie developer and level designer. And in this talk, I'm going to talk about my advice for Steam, what I messed up on, and what I'd recommend people do. By the way, I put a game up on Steam called The Square Game this year. I'm going to talk a bit about that, but just for context for this isn't going to be, let's say, a retrospective for my game. So I guess your question is why you'd want to put a game on Steam. There's a lot of alternatives. For example, itch, Epic, your own website. Console, there's Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. And mobile, there's the App Store and Play Store. Like, there's a lot of choices. I only put a game on itch and Steam, so I'd recommend looking into the other alternatives if you think that might be right for you. Itch and Steam, it's hard to say which one I like more. They do the store page very differently, but very well, from my experience. Like, for example, launching. In my opinion, it's like super easy to launch on itch. I put a lot of games on itch, and it takes like 5 minutes. You just need a thumbnail, title, and tags. That's it. It's great to launch with. As opposed to Steam, which took months to set up. You need like screenshots, trailers, 2 descriptions for the game, and there's a bunch of waiting periods. But at the same time, itch has a lot more competition. It has 300,000 games, and it's like, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong, more games is great, and getting more people into game development. That's great that itch is doing that. But at the same time, it's hard to compete with all of the games. And also, itch has a lot less players than Steam, so if you're going to get noticed, it's easier to do it on Steam. And fees. Steam takes $100 and gets a 30% cut of every game sale. While itch, it's free to put a game up on itch, and they do their cut anywhere from 0% where you get all the money, or 100% they get all the money. It's a sliding scale. They recommend you put it at 10%, but you don't have to. It's up to you, which I think is really cool of them. And also with Steam, this is something Steam has that itch doesn't. Steam helps you. You get like a store page, or not store page, a developer page on Google itself. So, for example, if someone looks up your game, it can see developer and publisher. So, for example, if you look up the Square Game, it'll go developer Aiden Rodgers, which I think is really cool. But by the way, you don't have to put your real name up on Steam. Like, you can use a nickname, or you can do a studio. This also does come with the downside, and I don't think this is the downside for anyone else, but since my game is the Square Game and it sounds like math homework, it actually did look up, when you looked up my game, there'd be a question on Google, how do you play the Square Game? And then it would just be math homework. So that can be a downside, but I probably won't affect you. So what do you need to put a game on Steam? Well, you need $100, a bunch of promotional images, a few descriptions, 5 screenshots, and a trailer. By the way, the screenshots have to be game accurate. You can't use, you can't do custom art, or you can't do concept art unless it's actually in game. And then you need a build of the game, so Steam can verify that yes, this is the game, and this stuff is in it. By the way, you don't need a trailer for launching the store page, but you do need a trailer for launching the game. Then there's a 3 to 5 day waiting period, make sure everything's all right. And then you have to have the page 2 weeks before launch. And then there's another 3 to 5 day waiting period. There are a few more things, but that's just the main bits that you need. Here's how a competent development cycle might go. I won't go too in depth because every development cycle is different, but here's how I'd recommend it. And this is just to show how poorly my development cycle went. So I worked on a game. So you might work on a game, launch it on Steam, let's say at least 6 months before release, get people interested, wish lists, market it, all that stuff. Then let's say launch the game, and then maybe do DLC or an update. I know no game release goes that easily, but just for example, here's how I did it. I would not recommend doing this unless you want a weirdly developed game, and even then. So what I did was work on a small platformer at the start of January 2019 for a competition I couldn't enter. A pro tip, if you're entering a video game competition, read the rules. The rules can be very helpful. But I decided in March I would showcase it at Gamerfest Limerick, which is a local convention about a 20-minute drive from where I am. It got a lot of interest. I thought I was going to just chuck it up on itch and be done with it after that. But since people were interested in it, I thought I'd work on it a bit more. So I stopped working on it 3 months immediately, mainly to focus on school, not because I was sick of the project. It was a lot of fun. And then over the summer, I decided to work on it again. I would scrap the first 5 levels because I didn't feel like they were fitting the game. And then I worked on it a good bit more over the summer, added in 2 worlds, a fishing mini game. Literally because someone recommended I put it in, and I'm like, yeah, fair enough. I guess my 2D action platformer could use a fishing mini game. I showcased it again at Gamerfest Galway and then at Insomnia Dublin, where a lot of people were interested in it. A few streamers and a lot of people are actually really interested in the game, which I thought was a bit weird. Because I didn't show people my game, not because I was like, oh, this is a secret project no one can look at, but I didn't think people were interested in it. But then I was talking to a friend saying how I was really surprised about that. And he recommended I put it on Steam. And after thinking about it, and I decided, yeah, sure. It's only going to take like a week of development, and it won't be that hard. Spoiler alert, it was definitely that hard. So what happened, I had the Steam page up a month later. Insomnia happened on the 8th of November. I had the Steam page up on the 9th. And then basically I did a bunch of bug fixing. I believe through 3 launch dates. I was originally going to launch in late December, and that moved to January, and then it moved to whenever I was ready. I decided I was going to do an update 3 months later, because in April I wasn't doing much. So I thought, yeah, might as well. I did it without telling anyone. Spoiler alert, if you're doing a commercial product, marketing is fairly helpful. And then I launched it, and then I decided, hey, I'll do some post-launch marketing for the game. So, Steam advice on how I messed up. If I talked about all my mistakes, I'd be here for 2 hours, so I thought I'd just go through the most important things. So store pages and wish lists. The store page was only up for like 2.5 months before launch. So I'd recommend having it up for at least 6 months. But also remember, it depends on the project. Some developers can have their store pages up for 2 weeks, and that'd be good for them because they can build hype very quickly. But also something that every project needs is wish lists. It definitely does help get people interested in the game. And also not even that, but also helps people buy it. So they'll get an email like, oh, this game that you have on wishlist is now out. Marketing, I did a bit of marketing. I used Keymailer, but it wasn't super helpful for me. Also, marketing isn't just getting people interested in. It's also like game names, all that stuff. And the Square game was originally going to be a project title. It wasn't going to launch with that title. But I'm really bad at coming up with titles, so it kind of stuck. Screenshots and trailers. Again, I put like the bare minimum with screenshots. I would recommend, and I've heard a lot of people do this, is they have a code in the background that takes a screenshot every frame, and then they would go through that and put it on the store page, which can be very helpful, and I'd recommend doing that. What I did was basically remove the pause menu when you hit pause, and just go around taking cool screenshots and then editing them in Paint. No, I'd not recommend that. And then the trailer, I got called up a buddy who does Minecraft videos and asked him if he could edit a few images together, which again probably wasn't the best. It was done in an afternoon. And also in the trailer, I'd recommend at the end just say like put the game on the wish list, have a call to action, which I didn't do that and I probably should have. Text and images, I went through it before, but I put the bare minimum. I had a background and a logo, and that was it. And the text were all right, it wasn't too bad. And the build. This is a funny story to look back on, but it wasn't funny at the time. So December the 9th, I had a beta up, and I spent the next 3 months bug fixing. And what happened was, when I launched the game, I uploaded a build to the depot, but I didn't set it to live, or I didn't set that to the active build. So everyone was playing the beta edition for like 5 months until I figured out the issue. And this also comes with looking at the Steamworks documentation. I highly recommend doing that. I'd say most of my issues would be avoided if I actually read it more thoroughly. And then the price. Price is definitely a big one. I launched my game at £1.50, and honestly, I think that was a bit too low for it. The reason why I priced it that low is at launch, you could beat my game in about half an hour, in an hour. So I don't think that was like people just play it and just be done with it and get a refund. But I have the numbers to back up that people usually don't do that. But also, I'd recommend if you're going to launch a game, probably launch it above £5. I can't say for every game, but that is a good rule of thumb, anyways. People should pay more for your friend described it as people should pay more for your game than a cup of coffee, which I think is a bit true. So, anyways, these are the analytics for returns and play time. I got 88 sales, by the way. There was 5 returns. It was a 6% return rate, or nearly 6% return rate. That was only 12 minutes median playtime for, on average, I guess, which was really shocking. And then 44 unique lifetime users. I was actually really shocked by this, but it makes sense. How many people have games in the Steam library that they've never downloaded? So, I mean, I could literally have a title screen and cool screenshots, and half the players wouldn't know. Like, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but it's just a way to think about it, I guess. These are my pre-launch analytics. By the way, impressions are when people see your game on like the storefront, or they see it when they're scrolling through Steam. Click-through rate is how many people click on that. And visits is how many people actually visit your store page itself. And then wish lists are wish lists. So I got that many impressions, a click-through rate of 4.6%, 6,500 visits, and nearly 100 wish lists, which I was happy with. These are my launch analytics. During launch, Steam actually recommends your game a lot more than it normally would. I got half my impressions this way, and I got 2/3 of my visits. And also, I would like to point out the wishlist activations. That was nearly half my sales, so wishlists can be very important. So sales for the visibility round. When I did the update, I had a massive sale, and a visibility round is where Steam recommends your game a lot more than it normally would. I got 100,000 impressions, a click-through rate of 4.78%, 4,000 visits, 11 wish lists and 9 wish list activations, and 40 sales. And this is an 80% sale, which really surprised me, but yeah, I guess people are interested in the game. Which, I mean, fair enough. If you see a game that is selling for 40 cents or 30 cents, you're probably not going to think it's the highest quality. So again, I definitely recommend looking into how much you're charging for the game and how high the sales are going to be. So for the analytics last month, when I'm recording this from September the 10th to October the 10th, 3,000 or nearly 3,000 impressions, a click-through rate of 66.21%, 1,961 visits, 6 wish lists, and a whopping 1 sale. I guess we slowed down a bit. Also, by the way, something I really wish I'd known before I launched, that Steam only pays out in increments of $100 every month, or you have to at least make $100 before they pay you back for the game. So I still technically haven't made any money from this game. When I do, I'm going to put professional artist in my Twitter bio, because all the art I did was just squares, and I think that'll be funny. But yeah, just keep that in mind. That definitely does take a while to get some money if you're having a smaller project. But 500,000 impressions, 4.61 click-through rate, 75,000 visits, 214 wish lists, and 330 wish list activations, nearly 16% conversion rate, and 88 sales. So that's my talk. If you have any questions, please contact me at thesteel_fox, or you can email me at aidenrodgers.com. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.